Today is the 10th anniversary of the 2003 Northeast blackout. We're also seeing this incredible increase in the cost of dealing with power failures as a consequence of increasingly more severe storms, the consequence of global warming. Now our power failures are costing between $18 and $33 billion a year, and 2-3 times that sometimes. And when we have a year with a superstorm like Sandy, 70% of our nation's power lines and transformers are more than 25 years old. The 2009 stimulus put $4.5 billion into an electrical grid investment, but that's less than a quarter of what we should be doing in any one year. So, according to the Electrical Engineering Department of the University of Minnesota, we should invest $21 million every year for the next 2 decades, just to get our electrical grid up to today's standards. So, anyhow, Tony Stiles is with us. He's the host of the Tony Stiles Show on Omaha, Nebraska's 1290 KOIL. Tony Stiles, STILES.com is his website. Tony, welcome to the program.
Hi, Tom. It's good to talk to you.
Thanks for joining us. One of the things we know about private for-profit corporations is that they're in business to make money. Back in the 1930s, it was not profitable to take electricity out to rural areas. Franklin Roosevelt tried to talk them into it. They said no. He begged them. They said no. So he created the Rural Electrification Administration in 1935. And by 1939, 288,000 households had electricity through 417 rural electric cooperatives, all of which were owned by the local rural communities. In the 1950s, same thing happened with telephone service. The phone company said, screw you, to Dwight Eisenhower, the Republican president, when he said, why don't you take telephone service out to the rural areas? And so he created the Rural Telephony Administration. Isn't it time, given the sorry state of our electrical grid, to say, you know, it's time to revisit what Dwight Eisenhower, that great Republican president, did when he turned our 19th century horse and buggy road system into a modern 20th century interstate highway system. Only do it for our electrical system.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a question first. How much money does the United States have right now?
The United States is the richest nation in the world with a net worth of around $54 trillion.
Yeah, and our debt is how much to these to other countries?
What does it matter?
Well, if we don't have money, you don't spend it.
If I go into McDonald's, Tony, I hate to break this to you, but we have plenty of money. The United States has plenty of money. Our billionaires have plenty of money. Our working people have plenty. In fact, if we were to, it's just some very simple formulas. In the 1950s, back when Eisenhower was building his highways, the corporate share of the federal receipts for income taxes was a third. They paid a third of the total into the federal government. Now it's 11%. Very, very simple math. Back in the 1950s, when Eisenhower was doing this, the top income tax rate on people after they made $3 million was 91%. Now actually, if you're Mitt Romney, now it's 20%. So, with some very simple tweaks, there's plenty of money out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of money out there. And this may surprise you about me. I understand that, capitalism, it works. Socialism, it works. There's a lot of different methods out there that work. The problem is that you can't have one with a little bit of another. That's
all we've ever had, Tony.
Yes, and it's not
working.
working.
That's all we've ever had.
And it's not working.
It's not working. It's not working to the extent that Republicans and libertarians sabotage it. But back in the day, before all of this Republican sabotage began with Reaganomics, we had a country that actually, you're probably not old enough to remember it, but before Ronald Reagan came along,
I remember,
local communities actually had local businesses. The economy was doing well. You could raise a family with the income of one wage earner. I mean, back before Reagan declared war on unions, back before the top income tax rate was dropped from 91% down to, or 74% down to 28%, the average CEO only took 30% or 30 times what his worker took, because to take any more than that was stupid. The tax rate was 74%. And as a result, workers were actually making good wages.
I understand that, but we're not in the 1950s, 60s, or 70s, or even 80s or 90s anymore. This is a new time.
I realize 32 years of Reaganomics has hollowed out this country. It's devastated the industrial base of this country.
I don't like Reaganomics, and I
so
will agree
let's
with you on
undo
that.
it. Let's roll back the Reagan tax cuts. Let's roll back the Reagan and Clinton trade policies and go back to the protectionist trade policies that from the George Washington administration to the Reagan administration built this country.
Versus doing it. What will that cost us to do versus actually doing it?
That won't cost us anything.
If it doesn't cost us anything to do, then it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, you know who it's going to cost? It's going to cost the Koch brothers. I mean, who needs $50 billion, right? It's going to cost Mitt Romney. It's going to cost the guys who have over $1 trillion sitting in bank accounts overseas. It's going to cost them something. But you have to ask yourself, how much is enough?
For me, how much is enough?
How much is enough for a billionaire? Do you really need that extra
well,
billion?
Sure,
You've
of
got
course.
50?
You have like what they said on Wall Street. How many boats can you ski behind?
Exactly.
You don't need a whole lot.
Right. So
in this world. My house is paid off. My car's paid off. I'm a happy guy. I don't need any more. You know, if they didn't pay me for radio, I'd be happy with that.
So why not build a modern electric grid? It'll be the best thing that can be done for business. Every time this country has upgraded its infrastructure, whether it was the railroads in the Lincoln administration, or whether it was the highway system in the Eisenhower administration, or whether it was the electrical systems in the Roosevelt administration, every time we have massively upgraded our infrastructure, business has stepped in to make use of it.
Will business be able to do this without government help?
No. There's no business in America that could build a national smart grid.
Well, there you have it. Then don't do it. It's that simple.
No, there you have it. Government should do it. That's
government doesn't have the right to do anything. Government is there to do very little for
I would
us.
suggest you read Article 1 of the Constitution.
I understand that. The government is there to work for the people. And if they're going to build something in the people's name, if the people approve that, if it's something that everybody wants and each state as its own individual place, as its own individual place of experimentation, if that is something that's passed in those places, then yeah, that's the people have made their voices heard, and that's okay. But the government shouldn't just jump into something without anybody giving them any approval.
The government is us, Tony. We give them approval in things called elections. If our elected officials were to say, okay, let's build a smart grid, and all of America was horrified, those people would stop that smart grid really fast because they'd realize that they're going to be bounced out of office.
A lot of people are horrified by Obamacare, and that's being pushed into everywhere.
That's because the majority of people are not horrified by Obamacare. The majority of people would rather the health insurance companies were no longer allowed to rip them off.
Speak for every single state and for every single insurance company. You, Thom Hartmann, can speak for those people.
I am not even attempting to speak for them. I can read surveys. I can read opinion polls. You ask people, even in the red states, they're refusing to expand Medicare so that Obamacare is available to people. Places like Alabama and Florida and Mississippi. You ask people in those states, the majority of people, the majority of Republicans will say, yes, this state should take that Medicare money. The partisans in those states are saying no because they're trying to blow up anything. They don't want the president. They don't want this Democratic president to have any successes. This is purely political, and you know it.
Yeah, Tony. Of course. It's completely political, 100%. I'm with you on 100%. And there should be a lot more agreement in Washington. Unfortunately, there's not, and that's when they stop representing people like me, people like you, people around America. They stop representing people.
I would say they stopped representing us the night of the inauguration when 14 of them met in the Caucus Room restaurant and conspired to destroy this country.
That would be very accurate. You know, when they take people out of the equation, when they take Americans out of the equation, it's no longer our government. They've been doing that for far too long.
Paul Ryan, Greg Cantor, Kevin McCarthy, Pete Sessions, Jeb Henseling, Pete Hoekstra, Dan Lundgren, Jim DeMint, John Kyle, Tom Coburn, John Ensign, and Bob Corker got together and said, we are going to obstruct everything, and they've done it. So, anyway, Tony Stiles, TonyStiles.com is the website. You can listen to him on Omaha, Nebraska's 1290 KOIL. Thanks, Tony.
You betcha, brother.
Good talking with you. We'll be back.